one. This one's yours. You kind of dropped this in the Discord chat the other day that you seem to be interested about, but Hinge AI. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about this one.
Yeah, I know, a married man. The single life has been interesting over the past few years, and dating apps have definitely contributed to it. And I say Hinge, at least for kids my age, 23 and older, it feels a little more serious. It's a little more about getting into a relationship. So people use it a lot. And you get matches, and it can give you a lot of information, but for the most part, it gives you the person's name, the city that they're in. They're usually in your surrounding city, and sometimes they list their jobs. Sometimes it's like nurse, sometimes it's like financial analyst at Vanguard. So like, exactly what it is. But a lot of people, sometimes when they get matches, you get a few photos and a few prompts. You don't know a lot about the person, so you want to learn more about them. And some people are really good at searching these things up. They're very good at finding, just with your first name, your job, maybe your school you went to, and your city, people are able to find your socials. Hand up, it's mostly girls. I have friends who can find people in 2 seconds, and it's incredible. They should be in the FBI. They're that good at it. But this girl says that she was the best at doing it with her friends' matches. She's like, I could find people like that. And so she took her skill set and put it into an AI agent, and basically said, and now this AI agent, all it does is it needs the person's name, their city, and their job title / company or company, and you plug it in. I tried it out, and it works. It's insane. It takes a few seconds. You plug it in, and you can have all the socials, all the articles, everywhere this person was published. Going back to talk about privacy, you're not really private anymore. All you need is the name, the city, and your job, and people can find everything about you in terms of your socials, everything that's public, your TikTok, articles on you. So, it's a fun little agent that this girl built. It works. Obviously, if it's someone thing like, her name's Sarah, and in my case, like someone's name is Sarah, and they're a nurse, and they live in New York City, that may be a little bit hard to find. The AI agent may not do that well at that, but if it's like an ICU nurse at Children's in New York City, then it's like, okay, that's gonna be a little bit easier. But people love this information about others, so it's really interesting. I'd be curious to know how many people are using it now that you posted it. But it's so funny, and like these little things, like you don't think about AI being able to do it, but it is. I think we've always mentioned is AI can do anything you want. You just have to figure out how to do it. And the problem right now with most people is they just don't know how to build something like this or do something like this.
I think you have to think outside the box nowadays. You kind of have to think outlandish things. I mean, if you can think it can be done, right? Like look at what Apple Vision did. Like they basically stole Ready Player One and put it in a headset, and they're like, here you go. So what you're saying is this AI agent is basically a stalker.
Yep.
It's a stalker.
It's exactly what it is.
So
it'll stalk the potential dates. Yes.
So it's its own agent. So Hinge is not a dating app. It's not like a Tinder or.
It is.
Oh, Hinge is a dating app. Okay.
Yes.
So she's taking all the data from Hinge, and she's somehow creating an agent that scours the internet to help find the person that you showed interest in on Hinge. Is that?
Yeah. So Hinge kind of works like, you swipe through people, you like somebody's photo. It goes like usually like there's, I'll show you. We're
going to put the video on the internet here, so everybody's going to see Tom's Hinge.
Well, it's not very complete, but I'll actually do a friend that I know, so it's not somebody random. This is somebody that I was friends with.
Should we contact them first about privacy, or should we just roll with it?
Actually, I'm not going to do it. Now that I was thinking about it, I'll show you mine. But so down here, it says my age, man, straight, height. And under here, I don't have it, but it can say your job, your city. My city is actually right here. It says Brook Hill, but that's just in Charlotte. So What she does is she takes your name, first name, usually your job. For me, it'd be hard to run this agent on just because I don't have my job up there. Don't have a job. Haha. But She takes that information, she plugs it in, and it just runs through and it's able to find it. I don't know exactly how. I think what it mainly does, it looks like it looks for LinkedIn first, so bases it a lot on your job. So if they find somebody who's located in Charlotte, who, my previous job was a product manager, if they see I was a product manager in Charlotte and my name is Tom, they're going to find a few people, and then they're going to it looks like it cross-references it with Instagram, and then it can maybe find my Instagram. There's a few articles about me out there. I won a high school finance competition, not a big deal. Nationwide. Also won 3 hockey state championships, also not a big deal. Sorry, 1 hockey state championship, 2 league conference championships. Rode the bench for one of them. It's fine. We'll move on. But
flex away, buddy. Flex away.
Yes, but it takes the information and it's able to find it. And like I said, it doesn't work all the time, but it does work. And it's insane. It is a stalker, yes, at the end of the day, but people do it without the AI agent too. So it's not like that's something that was not able to be done before, and it makes you think of what else can this do. Now, I was honestly unaware that AI was able to scrape through LinkedIn. Actually, LinkedIn makes sense a little bit, but Instagram is super interesting. How is an AI able to scrape through Instagram is very interesting to me, because for me, it's like, how are they accessing that data if it's private? Well, actually, the profile's not private, essentially. The photos can be. So
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Even if you go to somebody's Instagram page, like if you go to just Instagram.com on a browser and you search for somebody, you can see their profile. It just hides it'll hide all their images. So I can still see your bio and whatever you write in the bio area. That's all public, but the photos and the videos are private. So it's probably just scraping the data that's out there for everybody to see. Unless she's got access into the API and she's tapping into like the actual database from Instagram, which I doubt, if it's kind of like a bootleg thing. Unless it becomes a big thing and she starts tapping into APIs everywhere, then she can start really scraping data and finding people.
Yeah, that's scary. That's feels like this is what the FBI uses, and they're just like, oh, they cracked our code. I'm gonna try running it on myself and see if it can find me. But this begs the question of I guess we could run back a little bit to privacy. Like, do you think as people keep building tools like these, do you think there's going to be backlash of stuff like privacy for this?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know, man. I'm always torn on this privacy issue, because I personally, like, I care to some degree, but I'm posting videos and posting information to the web. Like, I'm posting it for everybody to see. Right? Like, everybody is using these social media platforms that are free to use to build their personal brands, or to promote themselves, or just to brag and boast about what they're doing, maliciously or not, right? Like, everybody's putting that information out there for everybody to see. Others are just taking it and scraping it and aggregating it and making it easier to find. That's kind of how I look at it. Like, if you truly care about privacy, you're not posting on Facebook. You're not posting a picture on Instagram. Like, if you truly care about privacy and you don't want anybody to know anything about your personal life, you wouldn't be posting it to the internet for everybody to see. So if you post it to the internet and somebody takes all that and compiles it and curates it into one spot, is it wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you do anything to limit your footprint? Like, I know you can go clear your data on Facebook or Instagram, or, I don't have a TikTok, for example, like something that I do for privacy, just because I know their privacy rules were kind of insane. Do you do anything for privacy?
I don't. Because like I said before, like the privacy stuff, a lot of it's for advertising, right? Like advertising, it's to show you relevant ads, right? Like I said before, I'm going to Italy for a trip. I've been searching up camera equipment, and I'm cookied across all the different websites. So no matter where I go, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or wherever, I'm just being shown all these cool new cameras and all the attachments. And like, I don't know, for me, I want to see that. I think it's convenient for me. I don't want to be shown ads that aren't relevant, or I don't want to be shown information that's not interesting to me. And I think the algorithms do a really good job of showing you what you're truly interested in. Like if you looked at my TikTok algorithm right now, or if you looked at my TikTok For You page, it's going to be a bunch of car videos. It's going to be a bunch of Dodger videos. Although I might delete all that after they lost last night. It's going to be a lot of basketball. It's going to be a lot of golf stuff, right? Like I'm being shown stuff that I want. These people that are constantly getting, bombarded with, all of this, like the Israel Hamas stuff, right? Like, or all these fight videos, and like, it's because they're watching it. They're watching it. They're showing some type of interest, whether they're scrolling to it and stopping for a slight second. That's part of the algorithm picks it up, or they swipe up and then they swipe back to it. That's going to also, like, these algorithms are so intuitive. They know everything that you do, whether you stop on it for a second. It's probably, I would even say that it's even got eye tracking, right? Because the iPhone has the optics. If they can probably see exactly what you're looking at in the photo and then match it up. So I guess it's a long answer to your question, but no, I don't do anything to prevent privacy because I don't care if people know certain things about me. Certain things that I don't want people to know, I just don't share it.
Yeah. So theoretically, based on this agent, what this agent does with Hinge, if I gave, an AI agent, my first and last name, and it was able to track down all my social profiles, it would theoretically be able to say, Tom is a guy who loves golf, he loves New York Rangers, and he loves the Dave Matthews Band. This is why, he reposts a bunch of stuff about the New York Rangers. He posted a photo from last November at the Dave Matthews Band concert. He posted a story a few weeks ago saying he's going to the one at MSG again later this fall. Like, it can give me a pretty accurate biography of my entire life and who I am. Does that, do you think if I was able to do that, if I typed in your first and last name and it gave a whole biography on your life, would that give you any inkling of, I know for some people it'd be like, well, that's scary. For me, it's kind of like, I put all that information out there, like that's all public information. Like, I don't care that it's out there, but for you, does that tickle your spine a little bit? Like, or is it kind of like, like you said, all public information is out there?
You talking about from like a privacy perspective, or just in regards to like looking for a significant other? Because I think I have two different answers there.
I would say it's more of just like an AI nowadays can do all this stuff and find it. I could spend hours and hours stalking your social profiles, finding you everywhere on the internet, and building a whole, persona about you and who you are. And AI now can do that in 3 seconds. So is that something that's like, you'd rather not be people would be able to piece that together? Or
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here. I'm going to kick back and say that I don't think you're going to be able to tell who I am, because who I am and what I post on social media and what sports teams I like and what sports I like doesn't represent who I am. That just represents what I do as a hobby, right? Like, it doesn't know my philosophies on life. It doesn't know how I handle problems. Like, if I'm looking for a significant other, like tying this all back to this dating app, if I'm looking for a significant other, I don't necessarily care what sports team they like or what band they like. Like, that's their choice. That's cool. It might not be my style, but I want to get to know who they are. How do they handle conflict? What kind of philosophy on life do they have? Are they optimistic? Are they pessimistic? Like, these are the types of things that I would look for in a relationship. That's what I looked for in my wife. I don't know that this can do that. I think that this just takes a very, very, very like just umbrella snapshot of like, like if I'm looking for somebody that wants to golf and that likes the Dodgers, sure, that probably works for me. What I look for in a significant other is deeper than that, right? Like, I look for somebody who's going to be super supportive, look for somebody who's sort of independent, look for somebody who's going to handle conflict a certain way. I don't think this AI is going to do that, because I don't think it can read the person unless they're putting out sheer amount of content. If you took a content creator that's uploading hundreds of YouTube videos and you scoured all that, you can probably get a pretty good take on who they are. But for the normal person who's just using social media as the majority of people do, and they're just taking photos of themselves wearing a cool cool shirt or they're at a ball game. I don't think that truly represents who they are. I think that just shows what some of their interests are, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, this is interesting though. It kind of goes back to it kind of contradicts what we were saying earlier about the pendant, where we said like, all your life's out there, like, all the privacy that you barely have done, this is going to give too much. Well, thinking about your point, you're right. Like a lot of what is on my social media, what I like, what I retweet, what I post in my stories is about kind of my front facing, like, I like the Rangers, they play tonight, hopefully win. Like all that stuff is very front facing, but it does not know anything about how I think. An AI agent couldn't figure that out based on my social medias and everything that's public about me. Maybe through my writing, because I've written a lot, you can probably find out I'm a pretty big optimist. But this pendant now changes the landscape. It can know everything about how you think, how you problem solve, everything. So now we kind of go back to that, and it's like, okay, maybe, in my mind, I'm thinking like maybe there was more to the privacy argument there beforehand, because now there's this whole other chunk of our life that we just talked about isn't really on our social medias or can't be found on the internet. Now could be found through this stuff, which, like we said, is completely private. They talk about encryption, they talk about everything. But does that make you rethink kind of what we said earlier? Like, it kind of makes me listen to the concerns of people a little bit more. But it was an interesting point that I want to bring back up.
Well, now that's very interesting. Now, what if you look at it through the other lens of what if you can take that conversation and what if I was willing to share that? Now this Hinge AI not only knows what my interests are, but can now hear my conversations, digest it, analyze it, and tell the other person on the other side, hey, Jeremy is an entrepreneur. He's very intuitive. He likes taking risks. Like now it knows me. Now it can match me better with a significant other because now it knows more about me. So yeah, there's a privacy issue, but me being optimistic, I'm looking at it from the other end of like, now that gets kind of interesting because now not only can this AI agent scrape the web and find out what my interests are, you now have my conversations recorded. Now it can analyze who I am as a person based on how I talk privately. Now it gets really, really interesting. But man, that is scary, isn't it? Like,
some Hinge executive is just like, God damn it, they found out our plan.
If they're listening, right?
Yeah, exactly.